Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to SSG Speaks, the podcast that takes you inside the walls of Camelot. Meet the knights that made Sword and Shield gaming what it is. So pour yourself a flask of your favorite mead and join us for an inside look at the fine folks that sit at the round table.
All right, everybody. Welcome to SSG Speaks. We are going to be interviewing our very own SSG Gambit here, and I have a special guest with me. SSG Mania is going to help me do the hosting and grill and get all the questions in here.
Yeah, I don't know why Gambit drew the short straw to have me grill him, but here we are.
Hand chosen, my friend.
Ooh.
Hand chosen.
You know how to make a guy feel special.
All right, so we will start off then, and we'll say, how did you find SSG? I think we've done enough of these where we've talked around and about each other, but what was your individual path to SSG and or as we've talked about, like the TTL and the Allies for the Win network?
Yeah. I actually I had my own little thing going back in the Halo 2 days when you could make your own clans. I had a little clan called the House of M. There were 20 of us, I believe.
That's a Marvel reference, right?
Yes, it is. That is Magneto's. It's a great storyline, but anyway, I digress. But we had a little thing that we played Halo 2 all the time. Just kind of fucking around and having a good time with it. And then Halo 3 came around, and that didn't have that feature, and that was really the only way we kept in contact with each other. And I had just started a new job that had a one Mr. Griffin working there with me, and he said, "Hey, you game. Why don't you come stop by the forums? I'm an ally for the Win right now and trying to get a membership, yada yada." And so I did. He got membership within a few weeks, and I was stuck with you fools. And we played every night and we had a good time with it. So the splitting of SSG and the Howling Commandos, I went with the Howling Commandos. Within a couple weeks of that, I think we merged and became full-fledged SSG. So that's short, sweet, and simple.
Well, I mean, I don't know how simple that is, but what are these Howling Commandos? Now, for those who don't know, I've only been part of SSG for like a few years comparatively when we talk to Gambit, so he's talking stuff I don't know. For anybody else, what are we talking about when we say split in the Howling Commandos?
So the Allies for the Win were the TTL, the prospects, essentially. Mm-hmm. And we played together every Monday night. It was Monday Night Halo. And, a number of nights throughout the week, we'd get on and play with the Allies. It was our lone little group as it was. And then both Ghost and Jay had the idea at pretty much exactly the same time to split off and make their own little clans. Since membership to TTL was an extremely hard won thing and they weren't really getting members in anyway. So Ghost broke off with a few other people, made Howling Commandos, and then Jay broke off with a few people, made SSG. It was like within a day of each other.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, okay.
So okay. I hung out with the Howling Commandos. Nothing ever happened. I saw stuff start happening on SSG. I said, "Ghost, we might want to think about this," and so we did. And then here we are.
Oh, okay. So how is SSG different than all the other clans that you were a part of back in the day?
I love SSG, man. I will forever be SSG. This has been my online family from day one. You guys are awesome. I've gotten so much time and so much joy out of hanging with you guys and meeting some of you, and it's awesome. I every other group I've been a part of online has always been very, they're just there to game together. We're here to hang out with each other, and actually I know you guys, and that's the biggest difference in the world.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's so cool. And we've talked about it, on the podcast and obviously all of us in the group privately. And I don't know specifically what makes us that unique, right? Is it other than just the members themselves? We built the community a certain way, right? When we were there and founded it. And I think you were there early enough, Gambit, to help kind of shape.
Oh, for sure.
Help shape everything. And we all had kind of come from in those early days, like you said, we came from the roots of TTL, and very much, made ourselves in their image, and then kind of decided anything we wanted to change or shape. But, that family orientated message and feeling is just something that I think everybody has, which is awesome. And I couldn't have hoped for, something like that, so it's pretty great. I know, Gambit, you and I have talked about maybe getting matching SSG tattoos in the past. So,
dude,
who
I'm
knows?
still down.
I'm in. Let's do
You
this.
guys, SSG has a heartbeat, and it's evident. So that's really the biggest difference.
100%, and I can agree with that. In my I agree with the fact that I can't quite put my finger on it either, but SSG is really we bring the good game into real life, right? It's good friends, it's good family, it's good interaction, and I think that's really what it is, in my opinion.
Yes. Your humble opinion.
Well,
Yep.
I don't know. I'm getting better at the humbleness thing, right?
I didn't say humble.
Yeah.
Humble brag about that, jeez.
Maybe
Right?
I will.
Oh man. So what do you think? Being one of the longest standing members here in SSG, what was one of your most memorable moments that you had? In person, online.
Well, the LANs certainly rank very, very high on that list.
So how many have you been to?
I have had the privilege of going to 2 of them, Chicago and Vegas.
Okay.
Nice. Chicago was actually where we met for the first time, face to face.
That is correct.
That was a good
Yep.
time.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I'm really
And
sad I missed that one.
Yeah, me too. I drug my wife along for that, and she vowed to never come to another one. Because we're all a bunch of nerds.
Right.
And then Vegas just happened last year, and that was awesome. It was really something.
I think about it almost every day. I feel like.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
it's
just
a constant.
So good.
Well, guys, it is about that time of the year where we got to start thinking about the next one, right?
We do.
Yeah, never mind the pandemic.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. We'll be 6 feet apart. We'll just have to get a big enough rental.
There you go.
Oh, man. So, I don't know. I will say, though, that showed me how frustrating Fusion Frenzy can get when you busted that out, Gambit.
Oh, fuck that game.
You are welcome. Dude,
My favorite
love
game was
that
the
game.
Tower of the Spiral Run. That was badass. I love that part.
It's called Twisted System. Anyone that has access to Fusion Frenzy, I got you. I will beat you in that every single time.
Well, if you're part of
Speaking
SSG,
of being
love
humble.
that game.
if you're part of SSG, you better have an OG Halo 1 disc because it's on there.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Yep, that's the first time I played it.
Yep, it was a demo on the disc.
Yeah, there were 5 games, and that was one of them.
It's true. So, I mean, speaking about you being really good at everything, anybody who's known you for 5 seconds knows that you love Halo Reach Racing.
Hell
Now,
yes.
my question is, other than the fact that I can beat you with my eyes closed,
Ooh.
that's a lie, guys. He's really good.
That is a challenge. Okay, all right, cool. All right.
But where did that one come from? I mean, was racing always something in your blood, so to speak, or did Halo Reach come out with great mechanics and that's where you got the love of it?
A little bit of both. I have always been a huge fan of racing games because I get them. I am not great at first-person shooters. I'm well aware of this. I can drive a digital car like nobody's business. I don't know why.
A real car?
Yeah, I can do that as well. I just don't have the opportunity to do the crazy shit I can do in a video game.
That's true. See, that's why I like Need for Speed. Everybody
And not be in jail.
Oh, I love it.
All
But
right.
yeah,
well,
any racing game, I'm all about it. I'm all over it, and I love the challenge of somebody throwing down. And
Have you
that
ever
kind of thing.
have you ever used a racing wheel or anything like that?
No, I hate them.
Really?
Yeah, they're terrible.
I think they're fun as hell. I love going to the arcade and even if it's a Mario Kart game, but you got the whole setup there.
In that scenario, they're fantastic because that's what the game is made for.
That's true.
Racing games on console are actually made for controllers.
Yeah,
The racing wheels are just too cumbersome.
they are. I've had the Xbox one where you clip it to your coffee table and all that kind of stuff, and the pedals move all over the place. And
Yeah. I mean, they're cool. It's fun, but if I'm going to do well, I need a controller.
So what we're saying is next time we challenge each other, you're going to be on a racing wheel to give me a handicap.
Yeah, I'll still beat you, though.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I could see it happening.
Especially if it's Reach Racing, man. That is my, oh, I love it. I've put well over 1,000 hours into Halo Reach, and probably 90% of that was on racing.
Oh, I believe it. But to be honest, I'd probably do better if you weren't playing these crazy ass maps. I mean, you're not supposed to do the loop arounds in Halo Reach. The physics don't handle that nicely.
Just because you can't, it doesn't mean you shouldn't.
Yeah. Words to live by, sir.
So we touched on briefly, with your old clan, how it is Marvel related there. So you're probably one of the biggest people that I know that's a big comic book fan. So what is your comics of choice, or your DC versus Marvel, and then I want to get to some body art questions here.
Okay. Well, anyone that knows me knows I'm 100% Marvel.
It's a good choice.
I completely agree. I've always been a big X-Men
Whatever.
fan. We'll get there. There's a caveat to this. So I've always been a big X-Men fan. I've always loved the way Marvel handles stories. They tie things up with a very nice bow. And you can consume a Marvel story and have all the emotions that you would have in any other story, but there's the art and the characters that is just so well thought out, and all the characters are very human. And that's what I've always liked about them. My issue with DC. Now, Jay, I know you're a big Superman guy. And over the past couple years, I've come to appreciate Superman. Just put that out right there.
Well, good.
Because I used to hate him. Because I had never read his more serious comics. I've since read the Injustice series. I've read the Red Sun. I've read a ton of Superman comics, a ton of Batman comics, which Batman I still fucking hate. I think he's the biggest waste of character ever. But I really appreciate his surrounding cast. So
he does.
I've read
his villains are amazing.
His villains are great. I love all his Robins. I love everyone surrounding Batman. I just don't like Batman. And so DC, I know a lot about the comics. Marvel, I could tell you the history of any character. I eat that up. I love it. So that's my personal opinion.
Sounds like we need a superhero Trivial Pursuit night with the clan.
Ooh,
Oh,
that would
dude,
be
That would be a
fun.
really good time. I think we should do
All
it.
over that.
With some
Hell yes.
shots.
Yep.
You tell me when, and I'm there.
All right, I'll put it on my to-do list, and then we'll get something set up. I am kind of like
Dude,
the
I'm
gaming
stoked.
community. So,
I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
like a mania party for sure.
dude,
Hell yeah, it
100%.
does.
This isn't my podcast. This is Gambit's. Let's get back to him. So we obviously we're huge gamers, all of us. But Gambit, you specifically, what are you most proud of in the gaming world, achievement-wise? Like, just that one thing that like you're never gonna not smile about.
Oh man, I don't know. So again, I'm not great at first-person shooters, though I love them. Halo Reach is one of my all-time favorite games. I think that anytime I can get a major achievement that other people have a hard time with, like there's one in Halo Reach called if you came to hear me beg.
Great one.
And it's a great achievement. You have to drop a certain amount. You have to fall to where far enough to where it would have killed you had you not assassinated an elite for the kill. And I got that within a few tries, and I know people that have tried for years to get that achievement.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that are pretty freaking cool. But
Yeah.
but when it comes to it, I think beating Halo Reach Legendary by myself is probably my proudest.
Ooh, congratulations to that one.
It's a rough grind, but
Yeah.
I love it. That was a good one. But I've done it in pieces throughout. I actually don't have the achievement because I did most of it on the 360 and then some of it on the Xbox One. So I need to go back and do the levels that I missed on the Xbox One.
Yeah, if you did it
finish
once,
that
you
up.
could do it again.
Oh, I know I can. I'm not worried about that. It just I need to get that achievement just so I have a little shiny thing.
That's right. You
No.
gotta have that badge there.
I don't know why,
Now-
man. Achievements are so satisfying when you get it.
Oh,
Bleep
that-
bloop pops up, and it's
that's such
it's
a great
perfect every
bonus.
time.
That was my text tone for the longest time.
Oh, that's a good one.
Now, Jay, I hate to take control here, but you had mentioned body art, and I did want to touch on that.
Yep, that was gonna be my next question. So
I figured.
I have seen all or most of it in person. So go on and
So you think?
Oh,
That's just more opportunities in the future. This is nothing but a win.
hey Gambit, we slept in bed together, so you don't know what I saw.
Oh shit, we did, didn't we? Yeah, we did. So my entire left side of my body, from my hip to my left wrist, is
It's a Batman.
we'll call it. Yeah, it's a giant Batman tattoo. No, we'll call it a tribal design, but it's a hollow tribal design filled in with Marvel characters and Marvel items. Each segment has its own character.
Oh, okay.
So my entire left side, and I've got the Iron Man arc reactor on my chest. I've got a Dark Tower tattoo all the way down my right arm, and a couple of man tattoos here and there. I've got a Star Wars tattoo on my back that takes up a good chunk of my back. It's a Mandalorian skull, and I've got the Extra Life logo on my ankle, because that was a stretch goal when we raised $2,500 for Extra Life, and my geeky Jolly Roger with it's a 16-bit Mario mushroom with a Keyblade and a Halo Energy Sword crossing below it. So those are the main ones.
Nice. So I mean, let's continue with this whole outside of gaming thing. Like, outside of gaming, what's your favorite hobby? Like, what do you do? Who is Gambit outside of the Xbox?
Typically, I am either out kayaking or working on my boat. Those are the two activities that really take up a lot of my time these days.
Oh, those are good ones, though.
Yeah, I love it. Obviously hanging out with my son and my wife and, the family stuff. But when I'm alone, I'm probably working on the boat or kayaking.
And we've talked about it a little bit, but this boat is where you live. That's your house right now, right?
I am sitting on it currently, yes.
So you could say you're on a boat.
I'm on a boat. Yeah, I am.
All right, where would you, if you could, where would you take the boat? Anywhere.
Well, this boat is very slow, so it's not going far. This thing is an island. Try that again. It's an island hopper, is what they're classified as. They're mini yachts.
Okay.
It's a 1982 trawler, so it's probably not going to go very far. I could probably take a week off and get to and from San Diego, but that's about how long it would take. It's an extremely slow boat. I think our top speed is 8 knots. So not going to get too far. But if I could travel anywhere in the world, I'd probably find myself either in Venice or Florence or
Maybe not right now, though.
Scotland. Probably not right this second.
I hear flights are super cheap.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But you're paying for a virus, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, a little pandemic going on.
Technically, you're paying for the chance, so it's not guaranteed you're going to get it.
If I'm flying to Italy, but
Oh, man. So you weren't born on a boat, I'm guessing. You mind
No,
telling
no,
everybody where you originated from here?
I was born in Long Beach, California.
LBC.
And, LBC. Yep. Lived in Fraser Park, a little mountain town, most of my life. And then, most of my impressionable years. And then when I was 11 or 12, we moved to Simi Valley area. And I've been kind of floating around that area with the exception of a 4-year stint in Arizona.
And I think we know somebody else from Arizona that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, Mr. Griffin himself. I actually just saw him at his wedding just before this whole lockdown thing happened.
Wow. The elusive TTL Faithkeeper, the baby maker.
That's right. The bearded baby maker.
Baby maker, yeah.
Oh, man, that guy. Good guy. Salt of the earth right there.
Yes, he is. Good people is what we call it.
Yeah.
So how many other clan people have you had the opportunity to meet then?
I don't know. I've been to 2 lands, so, some crossover there. Between the two of them, probably 25 to 30 people. And then, Jay, I know you were at the lands, but I've driven down to San Diego to see you. I used to live near SSG Burrito when I was in Arizona. Obviously, Faithkeeper. No, he's TTL, but regardless. Marvel used to live very close to me. Code has come through town, so we live so close to LA that a number of people come here anyway. So I get to snag them as they come through.
Yeah, that's
That's a
nice.
good
For like
setup.
a lunch or something. It's awesome.
Do you,
You know, Jetstream or Jet these days flew down from Canada to officiate my wedding.
Oh, that's cool.
That's so
I didn't
cool.
know that.
Yeah. Oh, and then Kinetic, I used to work with him. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
he lives in Japan right now, Osaka.
Oh, good
wow.
for him. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's doing his own little journey in the world, and he's loving every moment of it. But yeah. So
Nice.
to answer your question, I'd say probably upwards of 30 to 35.
Do you have a favorite? And I'm going to forewarn you, if it's not Mania, it's probably wrong. I'm not going to out you
dude.
like that. You don't have to answer.
Not even a little bit. I love you all. You guys are my extended family. It's funny. There are people in SSG that I have never met that I would consider some of my best friends.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
It's awesome. Ghost being a primary example. I talk to him constantly, but I've never met the dude in life. That's the beauty of SSG. I would give any one of you guys a shirt off my back.
Well, that's the
And gals,
case.
of course. You
Well,
don't.
Mania would give anybody his pants. So
Hey, pants
Oh,
are
I
more
already
of a
have those.
necessity. You already have my pants? Is that what I just heard?
What? No. You didn't have anything go missing at the LAN, right?
I mean, not that I accounted for. Security getting back to my place was a little tight, though, for some reason.
I'm sure. But yeah,
Right.
that's quite a few people in SSG that I have met and adore.
Yeah, no, everybody here is, they're great, and we can't really say that enough.
No,
but anyway,
certainly
like,
not.
let's go back to the early days. What's that first video game? The thing that got you hooked on gaming?
My dad bought, the day it came out, a Nintendo Entertainment Center, NES.
God, you're old. Okay.
never heard of that one.
I know I'm old. That really, really marked my age there. But I remember playing Super Mario Brothers with my sister on Christmas Day, and that was it. That's all I needed. It was, from that day forward, I was a hardcore Nintendo guy. Then Xbox dropped, and I was always that guy in my group of friends that was always the best at the racing games, the fighting games. I was good at games. You know, and this was well before the internet, when I was shown that I was not good at games. But until Xbox came out, I was always that guy. And a buddy of mine invited me over to play this game called Halo. We played Hang 'em High Snipers, and he wiped the floor with me. I had never played an FPS like that, and he destroyed me. And because I was always that guy, I went home that day, bought an Xbox, bought Halo, played it for 2 weeks straight. Called that guy back up and said, "Hey, you remember that game we played a couple weeks ago? It was a Halo. Let's play that again. I want to try it again." And I kicked his ass. So, been an Xbox guy since. So that's pretty much my trajectory. I've had pretty much every Nintendo game or Nintendo system. I've had Jaguars. I've had Dreamcast, Sega's, Sega CD, everything. I collect them, and I have them all still. I love it. I love the retro stuff.
Man, so I'm looking up the NES here, and so it came out in 1985.
Yep.
They continued to make it until 95 was its lifespan.
Damn.
Like, that's
I still have
crazy.
the one my dad bought on that day,
That's awesome.
and that thing still works. Those things are freaking.
Do you have to
tanks.
wiggle the cords a little bit?
Oh no, you have to. What you have to do is you plug it in, you blow in it first, and then when
of
you're
course.
pushing the game, yeah, of course. When you're pushing the game in, you push the pressure down before it actually gets to the slot. Then it goes down, and then you push it in further. That's the only way it'll work.
I used to remember the trick we used to do is put a second cartridge on top and leave the door
Yeah, I've
open.
done that. Yep.
Oh man, I when I was younger, I was a Sega Genesis kid, and the cords, the power cord, was so frayed, we actually had to lay down like a VHS or another Genesis controller on top of the cord just to make sure the connection was fine so it didn't turn off on you. But if you walked too hard in the house, you were screwed. And of course, there weren't saves back in those days, you know?
Mom, what are you doing?
So that's a funny thing. Old systems, we had all these little tricks and bullshit to make them work properly. Now, if there's a glitched frame, people lose their ever-loving shit.
And
It cracks me up. The dichotomy. It's just amazing.
Right. Well, we can't say that fully. We can't say that fully. I remember hearing stories about people wrapping their Xbox 360s in a towel. Like, that's some
But yeah, they
shit.
bitched about it the whole time.
That's true, they did.
What I'm saying is Nintendo, it's just, you just did this.
It was
thing,
just part
and
of it, right?
That's how it worked. Yeah, that was part of the experience.
Yeah. Everyone knew you had to blow in a cartridge, right? That was just it.
Everybody knew the tricks. And that's another thing. How did they know the tricks? There was no internet. There was no spreading of information. It was all schoolyard rumors.
It was,
and
yeah, just word of
nonsense.
mouth.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I was listening to the Accidental Tech podcasts, and the last two of them, they've been talking about retro gaming a lot. How a bunch of them actually have the old consoles and how they've been playing and showing their kids and that kind of stuff, but they've been bringing up a lot of emulators. And so, like, I built a RetroPie a couple years ago, and then Remy, you and I have talked about doing the like the Nintendo, like the official emulators, right? Like when on the Wii and the Switch, how they have all their consoles and things like that. So have your kids gotten into any of that kind of stuff, or have you played
son, the retro stuff, the only things I've done is the Virtual Console on the Wii, I believe. Yeah, the Wii, because it had a much more comprehensive library.
Yep.
I have the Nintendo Online for Switch, which is subpar if at best. That's actually the reason I bought the Switch in the first place. But as far as retro gaming and my son getting into it, he really doesn't care. I've tried to instill that nostalgia in him, and he just does not care.
It's hard these days, though, because like gaming has come so far from back in the day, you know, and we love the older items because we grew up with it. You know, it hits right in the nostalgia, exactly. Yeah. But you know, some of the games that some of the games I loved, like I just can't go back and play them because they just didn't age well. And I sit there and I'm like, you know, it'd be a PlayStation 1 game and looking at the graphics, I'm like, really? Like this was top of the line back then? And it just didn't age. Like I was calling my parents in to be like, you can't even tell the difference from real life. And and obviously you could tell the difference from real life.
Yeah, no doubt. I love the retro, but yeah, my son couldn't care less. Although he did get into that game that came out on the Switch, the Sonic Mania, the 32-bit, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, that's about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, do you have a guilty pleasure game? Something that you're not proud to admit, but you can admit right here in front of everybody?
Oh, dude, I have so many. I am not ashamed to admit my guilty pleasure games. I love things like Human Fall Flat and Ultimate Chicken Horse. And
haven't heard that one.
Oh, dude, do yourself a favor and download it because it is the most entertaining party game on this planet. I know certain people that may or may not have been in a little group called the Sons of Glitches that disagree with me.
Wait, there was disagreements on that?
Oh God, just a few, every so often. But I'm a big fan of the nonsense game. I love games that like intentionally have wonky controls, to figure those out and master them over banging your head against the wall. I love that kind of thing. I think it's hilarious and fun. A lot of people don't have patience for that kind of thing. That's my real guilty pleasure, as far as games are concerned.
There was one. Was it called like Felix the Reaper?
No, that was called Bendy. Are you talking about Bendy and the Ink Machine?
Maybe. That sounds familiar. I might be way off base.
That's another one, man. That game was a trip. I loved every moment of it. I hated it because I hate horror games, but I kind of love them at the same time.
You hate horror games?
I hate horror games. I can handle horror movies. I can handle haunted houses, but horror games to me are just terrifying.
Like Resident Evil type games?
Anything that's going to jump out and scare me, yes. I am a true blue chicken shit.
All right, that's something new I didn't know about. Okay.
Oh man, yeah. If you go back and watch any of the Sun's videos, you'll see a few of me playing Alien Isolation and
Oh
Scary Games.
God.
I
Holy
just
fuck,
downloaded
dude,
that
I'm
one.
such a chicken shit. I'll walk into corridors backwards just to not see what's coming.
Oh yeah. That I
I'm
put a couple
terrible.
hours into that game. It was
Oh god, my
suspensefully
heart
terrifying.
can't handle it. I can't
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah.
I will say, I myself, I love horror games. Absolutely love them.
You're a madman.
When it came out, though, Resident Evil 7, that one gets to me too much. And I can't play that game because my anxiety just shoots through the roof when I'm playing it. And probably because a lot like the Alien Isolation that you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not about that. I'll do it if it'll make some good content, but beyond that, I'm not playing a horror game by myself. Not happening.
I got you.
I'm just looking up the Alien Isolation, and one of the things that came up was VR. Like, no.
Oh, yeah,
Just
fuck that.
immediately, no.
Fuck
No.
that.
I wouldn't
So
be
many
into that.
levels of no.
Nope.
Speaking of VR, Gambit, where do you see gaming going these days? Like VR is starting to get some traction. I don't know what the mixed reality is doing, but what do you think?
I think AR has its place in the tech world, but I don't think it has its place in gaming.
You
I
talking
think
AR
I'm talking
or
like
VR?
AR.
Okay.
I think that VR. Okay, first off, Jay, I know you have.
Yep.
Eric, have you ever done any actual VR?
No, I have not.
Okay, so you cannot express how incredible it is until you actually do it. It's amazing, especially if it's a good setup and it's a good if you're in a really good spot. It's the most incredible immersive thing ever.
That makes
That goes
sense.
from the void is what we did in Vegas,
That was
where
cool.
you're walking through. Oh god, that was cool. You're walking through these scenarios. There was one we did with stormtroopers. One was a horror thing, and every movement you make, every puzzle is an interactive, like physical engagement. So you're pushing buttons on the wall and everything, and they're actually there. So there's a tactile response, and the smells and the heat, and it was so freaking cool.
Oh, that's right. They had heat and everything. It was like a 3D sense thing.
Yeah, it
everything.
was, and the smells and everything. It was so immersive. I was nervous walking across a bridge over lava. I know it wasn't real, but it was very real to my mind. So until you can experience that, you don't understand how cool VR can be.
Yeah, I mean, you're walking across like a plank with going towards Darth Vader with lava underneath you, and you could feel the heat and smell like the sulfur. Like it was pretty intense.
It was intense. It was amazing. And so in my personal opinion, I think that's where theme parks are probably going eventually.
I can see that.
There will be the traditional theme parks, of course, but I think we're going to see a lot more VR experiences, which I am okay with.
Well, something
as far
closer
as-
to my place needs to happen because I'm not going to drop $200 to get a rig
No, dude,
set up.
it's $40 a pop. Have fun. But that being said, if you're interested in it, that $200, nothing. For the amount of time you're going to spend in that headset, $200 is dirt cheap. It's an experience. I highly, highly recommend you try it somewhere at least once. I cannot speak better about it.
I've always had trouble like paying for non-tangible things, like the things that you just experience. Like it's hard for me to, even like when like my wife and I were dating, or when we got married before we had kids, or even now with kids, like paying, if you're going to go on a big trip and spend $2,000 or $3,000 on going to Disney or going to Universal or going to a thing where at the end of the day, when you're done with it, you've got nothing but maybe pictures and memories, right? Especially when the kids are younger, and I'm like, man, they're not even gonna, I'm gonna remember it. They're not gonna remember it. I always really struggle with that. I've gotten a lot better in the last several years here, but I was always much more willing to put money on tangible things than I have been like the experiences. And luckily, it's something I've kind of gotten over here. But
See, I am 100% different on that. I am all about the experience. I don't give a shit about belongings. The only things I really care about are like the things that connect me to like you guys, my Xbox, my my phone, things like that. I care about because that's my social circle. That's who I care to talk to. But as far as paying for experiences, yeah, I'm 100%. I mean, I'm living in a 200 square foot home so that I can experience living on the water.
Yeah.
Ashley and I went to, I think, 23 concerts last year. We devour experiences. I'm more than happy to shell that out before I'll shell anything out for a physical item.
What's your favorite experience then?
Skydiving for Ashley's 30th birthday.
Ooh.
That sounds like fun.
That, without a doubt, that was my best experience. That was so it was her birthday. It was her 30th birthday. We went on her birthday. And because it was her special day, I gave her the option of jumping out first or second.
I like it.
She chose to go first.
Had you done this before, either of you?
No, neither of us had.
Okay.
So she chose to go first. Jay, I know you're married. Eric, I don't know what your relationship status is. But imagine watching the most important person in your life jump out of an airplane. It is.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Perfectly good airplane.
It is an experience. That alone is an experience. So they went first, and we went tandem because we had never done it before. And the guy that was on my back essentially said, do you have any motion sickness? Do you have any fear of flips? Do you have any fear of anything? I'm like, no, let's do this. And so we went back flipping off the plane.
Oh my God.
Nice.
And we did a few spirals and a few spins, and then we pulled the chute and he let me steer, and we started spiraling downward so we could catch up with Ashley. It was just the most exhilarating day of my life. Like so much adrenaline, I had a headache afterward.
Oh, wow.
It was just incredible. And everything I did afterward, best meal of my life, best drinks of my life. It was exhilarating. It gave you so much life. That's the kind of thing that I just devour.
No, I got you. That's cool. I mean, I haven't gone skydiving. Would love to. And everybody thinks I'm crazy when I say that, especially when they hear that. I would not go bungee jumping. I'll jump out of a plane.
I'm right there with you, dude.
But I'm not going to jump off of a bridge. And people say, well, why not? Like, what's the difference about it? Well, you jump out of a plane, you go down, you land. When you jump off of a bridge, you go down, and then you come back up, and then you go down.
By your cord,
and then you come back up, then you come down, and then up, and then down.
Yeah, I'm not one for bungee jumping. I have no desire.
No, that does not sound like fun. But yeah, I've always wanted to do the skydiving thing. I think I'd have a hard time getting the nerve to do it myself. But like if it was something like a LAN or something like that, like a group of people that was kind of planned.
Jay, Eric, right here, right now, next LAN that we're all three at, we're skydiving.
Ooh.
Oh, you know what? I've been trying to tell myself to say yes to more things, so I'm going to commit to that.
Hell yes. I love that this is recorded.
We got a skydiving pact.
Nice.
Oh, man. Well, it's kind of funny that skydiving came out because me personally, with one of my cousins, I have a suicide pact because a long time ago, him and we both sat there and said, if we live up to 80, that's too much life. So at 80 years old, let's go skydiving and just forget to pull the parachute. And of course, it doesn't work that way, right? Like, you can't just go skydiving by yourself at 80 years old. But it was kind of fun. I still kind of think about that from time to time.
Yeah, the tandem guy, he's going to kind of be like, hey, man, we need to pull the chute.
Now's the time.
Hey, Gramps, pull the cord.
That guy behind me, he doesn't have a suicide pact. He's going to pull the chute.
That's right.
The bastard.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. So, all right, to get it back down on Earth here, what do you do for a living, Gambit? How do you make that money? Live on that boat?
Well, it's funny you ask that right now. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and as of yesterday, I am officially unemployed. So I used to be a manager at a marketing agency. I ran a team of 7 people, and we assisted small businesses with their marketing software, things like Marketo, Acton, Pardot, yada yada, etc. So the salespeople for these programs are very good at what they do, but the problem is that these small business owners buy these things and have no idea what to do with them, how to make them function. So we help them we either do it for them or we teach them how to do what they need to do. So we assist people in basically improving their marketing, getting their word out, whatever it is they need to do. So up until recently, that was what I did.
So what it sounds like is you got plenty of time to play some Halo or something with me. We'll get that racing in.
Well, what I'm doing is with my time, I have a number of projects that I want to work on. SSG Speaks is one of them. There are a number of things that I want to build, to create, to, I have a YouTube channel. I have 2 YouTube channels. I have 4 YouTube channels. Excuse me. I have 4 YouTube channels. I have an app that I'm in the middle of development. I have a book that I'm in the middle of writing. I have a ton of projects that I'm just half-assing at the moment. I want to lock myself down, make myself essentially make it my job to get these things done out the door so that I don't have to go back to work. I don't have to work for somebody else.
Oh, yeah,
so with my time off, that's what I'm going to do. If I can't do this by the time my unemployment runs out, then my excuse of time has always been bullshit. So we're about to find out. I'm about to either come to a very harsh realization or actually succeed. So wish me luck.
So
Yeah,
what
no, best of luck.
what is your what are the YouTube channels? So I know, but tell everybody about your at least your probably your newest one, right? Is your Boat Life channel, right?
Yep. It's called Big Little Lives. There are 5 episodes out so far. I'm working on the 6th one right now. It's a little more complex, so it's taking me a little longer to get out. But it's basically not just, but it's a story of, how my wife and I decided to move onto a boat, what our experience with boating is, what we're dealing with. We've replaced 2 decks on this thing. We've pulled out the support beams and replaced them. We've done so much work on this boat, and we have no idea what we're doing. So all of this has been a very, very difficult learning process, but I'm documenting everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm cutting together videos and I'm having a blast with it. And I honestly, the first few months of living on this thing, there were leaks every time it rained, which last year was an insane rainy season. So we had to replace the decks, and the first few months were really brutal. But as we've finished those projects, this is the best decision we've ever made. So I'm trying to express that through the channel. Just the hardships, the life, how we deal with things, how we do dishes is different than a normal person. How we do our laundry is different than a normal person. So we have, the fact that we have internet on the boat is now a big deal.
Yeah, it sounds like a big deal.
Connecting the entire marina to internet, because in the 4 years that this place has been in operation, no one's been able to figure it out. And I just did 2 weeks ago. So it's pretty exciting, and that's what the channel is about.
Well, everybody's lucky to have a nerd on the marina now.
Yeah, everyone keeps calling me IT now. But I've got a couple others. We've got the Sons of Glitches, which is a little bit on hiatus at the moment, but with my time now, I intend to revive it. I've got another one.
And what is that channel about? The Sons of Glitches?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a gaming channel. We play stupid games. We have fun. We fuck around. We give each other shit, and we just record it. And then I cut together fun, exciting videos and see what the public thinks. So that's, it's your typical run-of-the-mill gaming channel with a couple of crazy guys that like stupid games.
Isn't that most of it, though?
It is. It is. And then I've got another one called Moments of Serenity, which is just videos of sunrises and sunsets. I'll go out, Ashley and I were in Tahoe last year. She is a trooper, by the way. She got up at 3:45 a.m. to paddle across a lake with me so that we could get the perfect sunrise video. And we did, and it was awesome. But that's, when it comes to experiences, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about, Jay. I love that kind of thing. I will always have that memory of hearing a bear on the edge of the lake, paddling across it.
Did you shit yourself? I would have.
We got in the kayaks a little quicker. So, but paddling across that glass lake, watching the sun come up, watching the world wake up. That's what that channel is all about. It's just the invigoration of life, the coming of life.
You should plug that in a Discord. I'd be interested in seeing some of that.
Yeah, dude, I'd be happy to. That's another one that I've been kind of neglecting lately, and I really want to get it back up and running. So I'll definitely plug that. But and I've got another one that I haven't touched in years, and I'm thinking about reviving it. It's called J by J Productions, but there's only one video on there, and we'll see if there are going to be more.
So how did you, you've got this background with all of the marketing and stuff like that, for your work, and it really feels like you've got a whole passion, right? Like right now you do all of this audio work with all the different podcasts you've been a part of. You do all this video work, and like for this show you do all the editing, right? I'm betting you do all the video editing too, right? So how did you? Yep. Was that all just like a passion project for you, or is that something you? I mean, obviously you're trying to make money out of this now, but is that something you were ever trained in, or is that just something that you just do because you love it?
So, yes, that's I do it because I love it. I do it because I have this creative itch that if I don't scratch it, I become very grumpy. So, when I can't create something, when I don't have a project that I'm working on the side, I feel useless. My job, my work does not satisfy me. Funny enough, that's actually how I learned all of this though. So I got the job in my first marketing agency, and the client that I was hired to assist with, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of there for grunt work. Left within a week or two of me getting there. So my boss came to me and said, "Hey, I've got this program. Here it is. Here's Marketo. Figure out what we can do with it. In the meantime, I have this other idea of a gaming channel. Let's figure out something we can do that with that." Eric, I'm sure you remember The Ultimate Gamer.
Those are good memories.
That's what that was. So I learned, I'm 100% self-taught because that was dropped in my lap and I saw an opportunity. So I went home and I learned how to use all these items, all these programs. And I'm certainly not the best that I know, but every time I make a video, I figure something else out new. So I improve just by doing. And that's just something I love doing. I love editing. Audio editing is probably my favorite. Video editing, second, right underneath it. So it's always been a passion project.
That's good. I mean, like you get a lot of sense of accomplishment out of that. Being able to create something like that and share it with the world.
I love it. And at the end of the day, if something were to happen to me, I have hours upon hours upon hours of myself, my true personality on video. If it were hard for other people to pass on, if it were, someday my son might be watching those once I'm gone, and it, remind me of Dad. Who knows? And it's just really neat to have that legacy, as simple as a YouTube video or podcasts out in the world, to have something that I created, something that people can look back on, whether they do or not. It exists, and I
want to
love
start
that.
this.
I love it. It's really fulfilling to me. Always has been.
So it could be your legacy, you could say.
Yeah. Yes, it could.
That's an OG gamertag reference for all you.
That's right.
See, I'm too young for you guys. That's what this is, because I didn't know what that reference was.
So when I joined the TTL forums, my name was the Legacy Virus, and I went through a number of gamer tags that had the word legacy in them. My first SSG gamer tag was SSG Legacy, but before you came around, I switched to Gambit and have been ever since.
I gotcha. Sounds like there's always a history before me, which is exactly how life works for anybody else who wants that kind of mindset. So, no, it's all. I mean, that's great work, and honestly, from what I've seen so far previously, I mean, you do great work, and I appreciate everything you do, honestly. So, yeah, keep it up.
I greatly appreciate that. I have every intention on doing so.
Good.
Now that I have all this time, I'm gonna make a lot of shit. You guys are gonna get sick of me.
Maybe. I'll let you know.
All right. Cool. Appreciate that.
Oh, man. So, Remy, you and I, one more passion I'd like to talk about is the Dark Tower, because that is what led me to the TTL forums, in kind of this weird and indirect way. That's how I got to TTL. It wasn't even because of gaming. It was because the TTL forums were called Midworld, which is part of the Dark Tower series. That's where everybody lives. So, were you into the Dark Tower like in the beginning? I came to it real or in the middle. So I got into the whole series about book 4. So I was kind of lucky. I missed the huge gap in time when with all the writing and stuff. But where did you fall when you found it?
I joined TTL forums without any idea what Midworld was.
Oh.
So once I figured out what was going on, I quickly read the books and just fell in love with them. My boat's name is named Matrin, and that's the turtle that holds the earth on his back. Yep. I am a huge fan of that series. My right arm is dedicated to that series tattoo. So yeah,
okay.
Huge fan. But I picked it up late, read it shortly after joining that. So around the time that SSG was starting, I was in the middle of it, and is and always will be one of I'd say 3 favorite series, maybe 4.
Well, there's Twilight. We've talked about Twilight. So
well,
it's gotta be.
Actually, I have read it, but no. No, I think my favorite series is the Dark Tower. The Harry Potter series is phenomenal, and the Incarnations of Immortality.
I don't think I know that one.
Yeah, that's a new one to me too.
It's a Piers Anthony book. It was started in the 80s, so it's a little hokey, but
like all the good
entire
ones are.
series. Yeah, of course. If it's not a little hokey, where's the fun?
Exactly.
The series, it's a 7-book. We don't count the 8th book because it was an absolute dumpster fire. So
Ooh.
a 7-book series. Actually, we can stop at 6, and I'm happy. But the first book is about the Spectre of Death, the Grim Reaper. The character, right out the gate, kills the Grim Reaper, and it's kind of the Santa Claus thing where he has to take over the position. And so he's dealing with the morality as to whether or not he's killing these people, and there's a whole story that wraps around it. The second one is about Kronos, and it wraps around the same story. He lives backwards through time, and it's wrapped around the same story, so he has his influence. And then the third one also wrapped around the same story, but she has 3 lifetimes because she's fate, excuse me. So she has the 3 incarnations of fate. Then the 4th one is about war, Mars, the actual character. The 5th one is about Mother Nature. All 5 of these books, the main protagonist is Satan. The 6th book is from his point of view. And by the end of it, you're like, oh, fuck, I agree with him. Oh, shit, I did not see that coming. And it's just the most well-written story. It really throws you through, because every time you read a new story, you get a little bit more of this overarching story that you're reading. And it's from a completely different perspective, completely different motives, and it just builds on each other until the last one. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't see any of that coming. So it's just, I've read it probably 10 times.
Oh wow!
And
are they big books?
No, they're typical 80s fantasy sci-fi novels. So you're looking at a couple hundred pages, maybe 300 to 400 pages max.
So a pretty quick read then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which is why I've read them so many times, I'm sure.
I enjoy books as much as the next guy, but I don't understand how people can reread the book, which is weird because like I'll replay video games, I'll rewatch movies.
It's the exact same thing.
I can see how that would be, but I can't do it for myself.
If it's good enough, you want to re-experience it.
Maybe I need a better book. Could very possibly be the case.
Well, have you read The Dark Tower?
No, actually I haven't.
Have you read the Harry Potter series?
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
I got Harry Potter.
Incarnations, obviously. All right. Well,
yeah, that was a new one.
That's another one of my. I forgot to mention my Harry Potter tattoo as well.
Yeah. Well, now you have a new excitement. You can start the Dark Tower series.
There you go. Do it.
I might. I'll definitely let you guys know when I do. Well, hold on. I don't want to sign up that right now. If I do.
No. Wait, are we doing?
We've already committed to.
Yeah, you guys get one commitment out of me at a time, all right? We're gonna need to do another podcast if you want more.
Can't wait for yours. I'm gonna get all kinds of packs.
Oh. I don't know what I'm signing up for. I don't know why I do this to myself.
Because you love it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here before we, shed any more blood and have some kind of weird other pact going on. So, Gambit, thank you for being our guest, not the host this time. So we appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and
it's fun to be on this side.
yeah, it's you got to get grilled and don't know what's coming next, I guess. So
Yeah, for sure. I know I'm looking forward to my chance. I mean, down the future, whenever that is. But I mean, like, thanks for having me co-host. I mean, this was a good time. And whenever you need somebody else, let me know.
We may do that. So I will.
we have ideas.
We have ideas. Many ideas.
That's cool.
Yes, folks. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Or, I guess listening.
We'll listen.
Take care.